Hey, it's Jordan here from Stretford, Paddock. We're outside Old Trafford following yesterday's performance in the Europa League final as we lost 11-10 on penalties against Villarreal in Poland. It was a really rubbish performance in all accounts considered from the United players in Ollie's biggest game of his managerial career so far. We're going to talk about some of the reaction that's come out of the game following the performance. We're going to talk about some individual players' performances as well. We're going to talk about what Ollie and Rashford have said after the game and just get a real feel about what the camp's looking like following yesterday's terrible results in Poland, meaning that we're now going another 4 years without a trophy. So shall we get into it? I think we should. Now we're going to talk about the result, but first we saw yesterday Rashford didn't have his greatest game in a Manchester United t-shirt, but with that considered, we saw his tweet. He had to tweet out at 1:20 in the morning yesterday. He tweeted from his Twitter account at least 70 racial slurs on my accounts, social media accounts counted so far. For those working to make me feel any worse than I already do, good luck trying. I'm more outraged that one of the abusers had left a mountain of monkey emojis in my DMs is a maths teacher with an open profile and knows he can freely racially abuse without consequences. Now, irrespective of the performance of the players, we have to understand that there is no point attacking them personally. You can say all they want about their performance, you can tell them that they played shite, you can tell them that they didn't have a good game, but attacking them and discriminating them for their race, again, it's something that's reared its ugly head again, and we really need to just clamp down on it. Manchester United had to put out a tweet about it, but it was just a generic tweet. It wasn't anything really defending the players. We really need to come together now and just stop with this abuse, because keyboard warriors hiding behind their computers and their keyboards from their social media accounts, they just really need to stop, because it's getting out of hand. The players, they're suffering enough with the result. They'll be hurting considering they let the fans down, they let Ollie down in the biggest game of his Manchester United career, but we just really need to remember that this racist abuse needs to stop. But we're going to move on. We're going to talk about what Rashford has had to say post-match. He spoke to BT Sport and he said, "It's disappointing. The feeling is difficult to explain. We came here to win. We've been working so hard all season and this was the opportunity to win a trophy. Maybe not now, but we need to look back at the game and see where we can improve. The team will not give up. The manager will not give up. We'll come next season with a bigger desire. People say a lot about Manchester United, but for me, the hunger, desire, talent and ability, we have everything to compete at the highest level. We just have to show it to the world and to ourselves why we belong in places like this." He then goes on to say, I promise you, I promise the fans, we don't give up. There's no chance. We'll come back next season with more desire and more hunger. Sacrifice means a lot. I know in every club they don't have this sacrifice. In the top clubs they have. This is why the top clubs must win the trophies. We are close. I promise we are close. But close is not good enough. We have to be there, which is echoing pretty much every single Manchester United fan following yesterday's performance. We are so frustrated as a fan base knowing that we got to a final after 5 semi-finals. We had 1 win. We finally get to a final. That performance happens. It's just frustrating. Now, following what Rashford said, Ollie said post-match as well, that's football for you. Sometimes it's decided on one kick. That's the difference between winning and losing sometimes. We've got to learn from that one. Got to not savour this feeling, but taste this feeling and make sure you don't get it again. He then goes on to say, we didn't turn up and we didn't play well as we know we can do. I thought we started all right and they scored from their only shot they had on target. We pushed and pressed, but after we scored, we couldn't control the game as well as we'd have wanted. Now, I was watching the game with Ronaldo yesterday, and a damning stat that he told us was in 120 minutes of football, not one single through ball was completed. Now, if that doesn't show you the quality of the game, then what else will? I mean, we had the chances, which is really frustrating. Edison Cavani another day could have had a hat-trick if he doesn't decide to trap the ball and he shoots first time in the first half. If that header doesn't get blocked by the defender and you take into account his first goal, he could have had a hat-trick on another day. Marcus Rashford could have scored that chance. He really needs to be scoring in that position, but you know, we're going to have to dust ourselves off and forget about it, because if we're going to sit and worry about the result for the rest of the time that we're going to support United for, it's going to be really frustrating. But we have to consider some people's performances, and I'm going to start off with David De Gea. I think in potentially his swan-song game for United, his potential last touch might be the most bitter of his career, because he was so relaxed. He didn't look like he wanted to go and take the penalty. He didn't look like he wanted to go and really twat the ball, to be honest. You saw Villarreal's penalty scored by Rula. It was a brilliant penalty in all things considered. And I know David De Gea shouldn't really be judged on his ability to take penalties, but be all and end all, his was the one that missed, his was the one that cost us the game. And another game, 10 penalties scored does win you the match, and it's really annoying that, considering how much of a fantastic servant De Gea has been for the club, that it had to end like that. Fans are always fans are almost arguing, if I can get my words out, they're almost arguing that he should have done better on the first goal, but I would also account that to Victor Lindelof. I mean, we saw it against Fulham. Yes, it was a good through ball from Ademola Lookman into that young Carvalho player, but he was very weak. The fella were only about 5 foot. He could have easily mustered him off, but he didn't. It was poor marking from a set piece that cost us the goal. Really, really frustrating watching it as a United fan. But some of the players who can probably walk out with their head held high, probably Edison Cavani for his goal, right place, right time. Again, he's going to be instrumental to us next season. Mason Greenwood, why he took Mason Greenwood off when he did, it doesn't make any sense bringing Fred on for it. Yeah, we can play Paul Pogba on the left-hand side, he can do a job there, but then we're putting Marcus Rashford on the right, who probably wasn't even fit. He didn't play the game before. Then all of a sudden he's got 120 minutes under his belt and he's had to go off. It was just frustrating. It's really annoying to see it, but the cold hard facts now is that we have gone trophyless since 2017. It can't be considered a good season considering we finished second. It would have been an alright season if we got second and we got a trophy under his belt. It would have given the players the confidence to then go and kick on from there and really challenge Manchester City next season. But this is where the recruitment in the summer is going to have to be instrumental. The argument is whether we go and spend 150, 160 million pounds on a Harry Kane, or do you spread that money elsewhere and you put 80 million on a Sancho, on a Jason Sanchez, shall we say, 60 million on a Varane, and then use the rest of it to get a quality CDM that can go alongside either a McTominay or a Pogba in that 6 role. But you have to face the facts. Again, it's 4 years now without a trophy. We're going to have to try and kick on next season, but really, really frustrating as fans. We saw it yesterday. We had a couple of lads from Paddock out there filming. Poor James, he looked so annoyed on the Instagram stories after it. We're going to have to start off with a little bit of transfer news, as you said before. The article's from the Mirror, so you've got to take it with a pinch of salt. Is that Borussia Dortmund want to take Callum Hudson-Odoi from Chelsea, which could cause a domino effect, paving the way for Manchester United to go and get Jadon Sanchez, whatever you want to call him. We love calling him Sanchez on this channel, but you have to think, if he comes in, that's great. We've been needing a right winger for ages. We can actually put Mason Greenwood at the number 9 where he really wants to play. He's been wanting to play there all season. But I think Jadon Sancho is a must now. We saw it on the right-hand side yesterday. You know what we really could have done with? We really could have done with Valencia. You know, someone who he has one trick, he's a one-trick pony, but he's so fast, he's so aggressive. He takes one touch, he knocks it to his right-hand side, and he just absolutely batters it along the floor, getting a ricochet. We were quite lucky that it come off Raul Albiol's crown jewels straight into his keeper's hands. I mean, if any other day it goes anywhere else, it probably goes into the back of the net, but again, it just wasn't to be. Really, really frustrating, but what we can do now is just reflect. It's a bit sore now, and it's ironic that everyone's banging about penalties we've had all year, and the one time it goes to a penalty shootout, we end up losing it. Very frustrating, but we just have to pick ourselves up, move on, and back the fans and back the players for next season. But lots of content on the Stretford Paddock channel still coming out. If you've not seen Sir Alex Ferguson's interview with Jay, as I'm sure you know, he doesn't like talking about it, but if you haven't, make sure you go and check that out. And we can't leave Joe Smith's out at Rio Ferdinand's season review. Go and check that out. We'll put them videos in the links to the videos in the description. But I've been John Simpson for Stretford Paddock. Make sure that you like, comment on the video, comment your feelings about yesterday, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel, because why else are we here? We'll see you next time.